Inhaling through the tongue, lifting the head. Exhaling through the nose, lowering the head. A few more rounds of Shitali breath. And then take a moment to simply breathe normally. You can close your eyes if you like. And notice any effects of the breath work. And we just do a little bit today. So sometimes you may need to do a little bit longer with the breath work to settle, depending on how much is going on in your brain today. So if you still feel a little scattered or a little anxious, don't worry. That's normal, and it's not like this is an instant fix, right? We gain our anxiety over time, and it kind of builds and builds and builds. So we want to just very slowly bring that down. So let's bring the hands to the knees or the thighs, and we'll do a little balancing breath, working with the cat-cow movement of the spine. So you'll inhale and find a little lift in the heart, and then exhale and round. So this time we're breathing normally. If you like, you can continue Shitali breath with this movement. But you can also just let it go and breathe normally. So either way. When you notice your mind starts to wander, if you can bring it back to your breath. Be curious about your breath. Another cause of anxiety is when our mind is all over the place, sort of a cause and effect of anxiety. So if we can narrow our focus and bring ourselves back to a focus or concentration that feels positive and grounding to us, and that's often the breath, but for some people, focusing on the breath isn't calming and relaxing. So you might just focus on the movement of your body. Okay, and then you'll come back to neutral position. Let's take the head and turn it to one side. Then go until you feel where your natural endpoint is. So to go further would be to force or to push. To go less, you wouldn't feel much. So notice what your body tells you so that you know that you're at the limit. And then try the same thing on the other side. So you're going to your comfortable limit and noticing what tells you that. Is it an idea you have of how far you can go? Is it something in your neck? Great. And then come back to the center, and we'll go to the first side again. And this time make a little half circle. So you're going to come down across the front of your chest and come up to the other side. And go down and come to the other side. So go side to side. Follow your own easy rhythm and pace. There's no rush here. So also slowing things down helps to calm the mind. For me, when I feel anxious, I always feel like I have too much to do and no one to help me. And when I slow down, I realize that I don't have to get everything done right now. Some things can wait. So when we slow down in our yoga practice, we're also telling our minds it's okay. We don't have to do everything right now all at once. Eventually come back to the center, and we'll take the head and tilt it to the side. And again, notice when your body says that's enough, right? I could force my head to go lower, but I'm just letting gravity create the stretch. Really easy. Again, when we force our body, anxiety rises. Our bodies go into a little bit of stress mode and they think, uh-oh, I need to tense up because I may get hurt here. Right? So not forcing the body, going slowly, focusing on the breath. If you want a little more stretch, dangle the opposite arm down. You don't have to reach or pull, just dangle. And my dog thinks that's an invitation for some loving. Great. You can come back to the center and over to the other side. So again, if you want, you can dangle that arm down and you can play around with where is your chin? Is it slightly raised? Is it slightly lower toward the collarbone? And where do you feel the most wonderful stretch? The stretch that feels just right for you. Good. And then you can come back to the center. And let's do a few full circles. So as always, we don't want to let the head fall back behind the shoulders. So as we circle, we're just coming across the top of the shoulders and down across the front of the chest. Notice what you're aware of in your neck as you circle, and then eventually go the other way a few times. You might hear some creaking and cracking, which is normal, as long as it's not painful. All right, so let's come back to the center and lower the arms down to the side. And we'll take a breath in and lift the arms, bending them so that the elbows are sort of at shoulder height, and you come into this goalpost kind of position. And then you can lower the arms as you exhale. And I should say, if you're coordinating your movements with the breath, as I suggest, and your breath doesn't match my breath, please just go with the pace that feels right for you and the breath and the movement pace that works for you. So we're adding a little chest opening now as we lift. So the arms come up, we're drawing the elbows back, lifting the heart, and exhale to lower. This time we'll lift the arms. And as you exhale, bring the elbows in towards each other. Hands can come together. Elbows may or may not come together. Inhale, open. Let the heart lift. Exhale, you can even round the back a little like you're doing a cat-cow. Inhale, open and lift. Exhale, coming back in. Right, and then coming out to the side. And let's bring the hands down to the thighs. Take a breath in, lift the heart. And exhale and return to neutral. So feel your sit bones on your chair or on your cushion or on the ground, wherever you happen to be sitting. And feel a sense of being anchored, of being really held by the earth. And let the arms come down to your sides. We'll lift the shoulders, breathing in, rolling them back and down as you exhale. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, back and down. Slow the movement down. If your breath feels faster than you want to move, just breathe normally and move at a pace that feels right for you. Wonderful. And then bringing your hands out in front of you, you can circle the wrists around. Go one direction and then circle the other way as well. And then take one hand, palm facing up, ceiling, or if you're outside, sky. Been teaching outside for the last couple of months. And we're going to take the fingertips and draw them down toward the ground to feel some stretch up in the forearm, most likely. Another way to do this is to put the palm forward, take the fingertips, and press away from you. So whatever feels right. And then we'll take the hand the other way, so turning the fingers down, and be very gentle here. So just a little gentle pressure on the top of the hand. And then we'll switch to the other side. So fingertips drawing back toward the floor or back towards you. Just got a few cracks in my wrist there. And be gentle with your wrist. So there's often a lot of strain, a lot of tension or tightness in the wrist. So just be gentle. And then the other way. And give them a shake. Right, arms down at your side. So if it felt good for you to lift your arms to this kind of position, you can repeat that. If you want to lift all the way with straight arms, you can lift up. Find that little lift in the heart again, and we'll come forward. So hands to the thighs or the knees, letting your body relax forward over your legs. You'll come up with a breath in, and then you'll come forward with a pretty long spine. Feel your sit bones sink into the chair as you lift. And you'll maybe feel your pelvis tilt forward as you come into the forward bend. Try to really luxuriate in the moment. Take your time. We have all the time in the world to do this movement. There's no rush. There's nowhere else you need to be, as far as I know. So we can just be here together, move and breathe, and hopefully find some peace in that connection, even if it's just an online connection. So coming back to the center. And again, keep your hands on your thighs or your knees. If you're sitting in a chair, you might, for this one, move your knees a little bit further apart so you're well balanced on the chair. And we'll start to circle the torso. You can do little circles or bigger circles, whatever feels good. And you can circle the other way as well. See how that feels. So today, really, we're kind of warming up and moving the joints and just kind of getting back into the flow of the fall season. Maybe some of you have been away from your yoga practice for a bit, so we'll surely take it nice and easy and check in with the body and see how everything feels. So let's come now to stand up. And I'll move my chair out of the way. See, I still have a friend on my mat there. That's okay, because I don't need it right now. So I didn't even think about the fact that we're going to be doing tree pose today when I put my tree shirt on. So let's feel grounded like a tree. You can bring the feet in underneath your hips. And feel a sense of dropping into your heels, as though that connection from your sit bones to the earth that we were looking at a bit earlier, feeling plugged into the feet. Feel that your sit bones now connect to a line that goes down the back of your legs into your heels, which go down into the earth. And this is roughly the path of the sciatic nerve. So for some of you who have had issues with sciatica, you may know this feeling of tenderness in the butt. The sciatic nerve comes out from the spine, splits, and goes down both legs. So feeling that root going down from the sit bones, down to your heels, down into the earth. And just like a tree, the more rooted we are, the more uplifted we feel. And there's a reason why we use this word uplifted to mean joy or happiness. Because when we feel sunk down into the earth, there's kind of depression. Depression and anxiety often go together. Right? Anxiety is too much energy, and depression is like sort of sinking down and not having the energy to get up and go. And what we're looking for today is to find that balance. So heels go down. We feel uplifted in the body. So find that feeling more or less from the navel up, the trunk of your tree growing upwards, the crown of your head, like the crown of the tree opening to receive light, to receive nourishment. Pausing here. And then tune into your breath. Feel as though you breathe in, you're drawing energy up from the earth, bringing it right up through the body. And as you exhale, it's like you're dropping down any stress, tension, anxiety is dropping down through your feet to go into the earth. So whatever we give to the earth just becomes recycled, compost, right? So you can breathe in the energy of the earth all the way up through the feet, right up to the crown of the head. Exhale, softening, letting go of any tension. Imagine whatever's holding you or creating that dukkha or stress in your body, let it drain out as you exhale, draining into the earth. And then try separating your feet a little ways. You've got some good balance between your 2 feet. Bring your hands onto your hips, soften your knees, and again, we'll circle around, this time circling the hips. So you can do little circles, or if you like, you can make those circles really big. Notice how your left hip feels, how your right hip feels. Adjust the size of your circles to accommodate any pain or tension in your hips. Right, and then let's come back to the center. Let the arms come down to the sides. We'll raise one arm up. Again, you can use the half raise or the full raise, and we'll reach over to the side. And then we'll come up and switch arms, again, half or full, reaching to the other side. So you're coming up. You can breathe in as you lift up and exhale as you go to either side. Now, if it feels good for you, you can stay for a few breaths. If it feels like you're straining to hold yourself in the side bend, keep moving dynamically. And don't think about going as far to the side as you can, but think about really pressing down into the foot that corresponds to the arm that's lifted, grow long, and a little to the side. Breathe into the side of the armpit, the side of the rib cage, the side of the waist, the hip. Come back to the center if you've been holding. Pause for a moment to maybe notice the difference between 2 sides. And then we'll reach up with the other arm, take it to the other side. Again, if moving dynamically feels better for you, keep moving. Breathing here. Breathing into the armpit, the side ribs, the waist, the hip. Pressing down with the heel, reaching up with the arm. And then coming back to the center. Raise both arms up, breathing in. We'll come forward, bringing the hands to the sides, bending the knees, and inhale, find a lift in the heart, lift in the tail, and then exhale, lift the belly, round the back, let the head come down. So reversing that to inhale, arch, exhale, round. And next time you're rounding, as you finish your exhale, you can inhale and roll upright. Maybe bring the feet in so they're under the hips again. I'll come back onto my mat now that it's available. So feet underneath the hips, about hip distance apart, and roughly your feet parallel to one another, so they're not turned out or in, but again, it's really according to what is comfortable for you. And let's play with the feet a little bit. So roll to the outer edges of your feet, and then roll to the inner edges. Roll to the outer, so working with the ankles a little bit. And then find a place where the feet are even. So some of us roll out naturally, some of us roll in naturally, and that can create problems all the way up the body. Often it's corrected with orthotics. So see if you can find a place that feels even, and it may feel a little awkward or uncomfortable if you're used to one or the other, rolling more out or rolling in. So often if the arches are fallen, the feet will roll in. The ankles, you can maybe see the angle on my ankle is not straight. So I'm looking to find that straight angle over my feet with my ankles, so not rolling out or in. To see if you can find that place, you might look down and kind of judge, or maybe you already know. Often you can tell by the way your shoes wear, whether they're worn on the inside or the outside of the shoe. So once you find that place that feels pretty even, we're going to rock forward onto the balls of the feet and then rock back onto the heels. And notice what changes with your legs. So as you rock forward, what muscles have to engage. As you rock back, what muscles have to engage. Great. And then let's rock a little more forward. So we lift the heels right up and then rock back. And you can lift the toes. You don't have to lift the balls of your feet. It's a little harder to balance, but if you want to challenge yourself, you can. So rock forward, lift the heels, feel your calves engage. Come down, rock back, lift up the toes. You'll feel that the shins engage and the thighs engage most likely. So come forward. Now notice if you're holding your breath as you do this. I caught myself just now holding my breath. So check in with yourself and make sure you're breathing. All right. Now we're going to add one more ball to juggle. So as we rock forward and lift the heels, we're going to inhale and lift the arms. I guess that's two balls, inhaling, and then exhaling, lowering the arms, lifting the toes. See if you can coordinate all of that. Inhale, lift the heels, exhale, lower, lift the toes. Okay. And then this time as you come down, find your weight evenly on both feet again and bend and straighten the knees a few times. Okay. So we'll work a little bit more with the feet. So if you take a step forward, so if you're on your mat or wherever you are, doesn't matter, take a step forward as if you're just going for a walk. And then as you take that step, feet stay parallel to one another, so they're not one in front of the other. It's still side by side, but one foot in front of the other. And then what you'll do is we're going to bend the back knee, and probably bending the front knee is going to make this easier for you as well. And you might feel a stretch in the back ankle a little bit. So hold there for a few breaths, and then we'll bring the hands onto the front knee, step the back foot a little further back, and press the heel towards the ground. So probably the stretch will move a little higher up your calf as you do that. Imagine that line from your sit bone down the back of your leg into your heel. Engage the front of your thigh to press down into into the heel and feel that stretch up the calf. Great. You can step onto the front foot now. The foot that was back, you can bring the top of your foot down and just let the weight of your leg create some stretch on the top of your foot. If you like, you can roll from side to side to stretch the top of your foot. If your foot feels like it's going to start to cramp, stop doing this. It's really common that the feet cramp here. So you might even turn the toes over and press the heel forward, stretch the arch. But otherwise, toes down. And then when you feel ready, you can, I'm seeing that there's a chat here. Okay, we're good. And then toes down, heel forward. So now we're stretching the arch of the foot. From there, same foot that we've been working with, you can lift and circle the ankle. If you prefer to keep your toes down, you can do that. One of my old teachers called this crushing grapes. And we actually did that with my dad when I was little. We'd get in a barrel and stomp on the grapes, but it wasn't quite this action. Great. And then bring that foot down and see if you can notice maybe there's a difference in the sensations between the foot that you've just worked with and the other foot. Maybe not. You can close your eyes for a moment if you feel comfortable doing that while you're standing. And just notice what subtle or obvious differences do you feel in one foot versus the other. And then we'll go ahead and do the other side. So again, you're stepping forward with the foot that was back before. You'll bend both knees, keeping the back heel on the ground. You're looking for that stretch in the back ankle. Your upper body is upright, relaxed. And then we can come forward, bringing the hands onto the front knee and stretching back with the back leg. Again, imagine that line from your sit bone down through the back of the leg into the heel, and then from the heel into the earth. And I really feel this calf is much tighter for some reason than the other one. So you may notice little subtle differences in your body as well. They may be actually not so subtle. Tuning in and noticing the messages from our body helps to keep us in the moment. And anxiety is all about being in some other moment, right? I need to do this or I should do that. And when we're just in the moment, generally everything's just fine. And I keep reminding myself that when I feel anxious. So let's step onto the front foot and take the top of the foot down. Again, very gentle pressure here. It does sometimes create cramps for people to have the foot in this position. You know, it's the same kind of position your foot would be in if you're kneeling, sitting on your heels. I teach canoeing, so this is often a difficult position in the canoe for people. You can roll from one side to the other. And then turning the pads of your toes down, press your heel forward. So now stretching the arch of your foot. You can lift the foot and circle or crush some grapes with your toes. Circle both directions, and again, notice if you're holding your breath. Great. Come back to the center. Feet side by side, pressing down into your heels. Find that rebound action, lifting up through the crown of your head. Great. And then for the next one, if you feel unsteady and you need support with balance, you could take a chair and use the chair to help support you. Or if you're near a wall, you could do that. Or if you feel confident, you can skip the support. So whichever hand is on your chair, we're going to lift the other leg and I'm gonna bring my other hand to my hip to get it out of the way. We're lifting the knee, coming out to the side and coming back down. So lift, go to the side and back down. And then if you like, you can continuously rotate without bringing the leg down. Pause for a moment. To do the other side, if you're holding on, you can turn around or move your chair. And then same thing here. I'm going to lift, rotate, and come down. And then again, you can either come down in between or continuously rotate that leg. And let's come back to the center. Bend and straighten a few times to release any tension in the knees, ankles. And then if you're using a chair, you can face the chair. If not, you can just stand. And we're going to, see if we take that step forward that we took or back, doesn't matter. We're going to point the toes behind, keep the body upright. You can use your chair if you like, and maybe lift the foot just off the ground, or even toes on the ground is fine. So usually when we lift the back leg, we swing the upper body forward. See if you can lift the back leg and keep the body upright. Try one side and then the other side. Just noticing your tendency to want to come forward. So it's really working to strengthen the back of the legs, the butt, and the back. You can try the first leg again. Try flexing or pointing your foot, see how it feels for you. And then other side. Great, and then bring it down. You can keep your chair handy if you like. We'll do a little bit more balancing, but first we'll do a bit of a forward bend to release after that. There's actually a back bend when you lift your legs behind you. Taking a breath in, reaching up. As you exhale, big circle with your arms. Release your head as you come forward, bending your knees, and then come all the way up, breathing in. And you can do that a few times. Go at your own pace. Continue a few more, or if you feel like you'd like to stay in that forward bend, go ahead and stay. You can have your hands on your knees or elbows on your knees or arms hanging down. You can cross your arms, lots of variations here. So find the version that works best for you. Main thing here is most people kind of crank their neck up when they're forward. So try to let your head really release down. Feel that you're letting go of tension in the back of your neck. As you exhale, feel that the weight of your head creates some traction for your spine. As you exhale again, feel your spine relax and release a little bit more in that forward bend. Again, if you feel like it's better for you to keep moving dynamically, go ahead and keep moving or come out of the forward bend anytime. And then when you're ready, you'll come all the way up, breathing in, reaching overhead, and then exhaling to release. Coming back to the center, feel your heels drop down into the earth. Feel that connection from the sit bones all the way down into the earth. And then a feeling of lightening up, lifting through the trunk, and the crown. So interesting that these words relate to trees and humans. Great. So again, if you want to use your chair, you can bring your hand onto your chair or the wall if you need that support. We'll shift the weight to that side. Come onto the toes. So you're lifting the heel of the other foot. And then you're going to rotate the knee so it's pointing away from you. So this is sort of level 1 tree pose with the foot on the ground, knee to the side. And even here, it's a little trickier to balance with just one foot on the ground. To up it a little bit, you can bring the foot a little bit closer to the standing leg or lift it right up. So you can come onto the ankle or the calf. It's usually recommended to avoid pressing against the side of the knee, but you could lift up, perhaps bringing your foot into your thigh. Hands can come to the heart in prayer position, out to the side for often greater ease of balance, or overhead if you want to be a tall, extended tree. So wherever you are, notice if there's tension in your body. So there's a certain amount of muscle tone required to be in the pose. But wherever there's tension, see if you can soften and let that go. For instance, I always check in with my jaw because that's where I tend to hold my tension. So sometimes just smiling helps me to release. When you're ready to come out of the pose, you can lower the arm and release the leg. And then you might want to do a few rotations to bring some movement into the standing leg that's been supporting you. Wonderful. When you feel ready, bring the feet back underneath the hips. Feel both sit bones connected to the earth through that root, through the heel, crown and trunk lifting. And then we'll shift the weight to the other foot. And when you do that, you don't want to throw the hip out to the side. So it's just a little weight shift, coming onto the toes of the other foot, turning to the side, and then finding your version of tree, the version that works for you. It's maybe different from the other side even, certainly probably different from anyone else's tree. Bringing the foot onto the calf, the ankle, or up into the thigh. And then choosing the hand position that works best for you. The heart, the sides, or overhead. Breathing and tuning in to notice if you've brought tension into your body. So there's no reason for the shoulders to be up to the ears. You can relax the shoulders, relax the arms, relax the face and jaw, smile if it helps. Press down into the earth, lift up through the trunk, and then release. And I should say, anytime we're doing balancing poses, if you lose your balance, don't worry. Just come back into the pose, even if it's 10 times over. Right? Some days, balance is easier than others. It's almost always easier on one side than the other. And for some people, balance just seems more elusive than for others. And it's not that you're doing anything wrong or there's anything wrong with you. It's a elusive quality some days. So let's take the feet apart. Do a few more circles for your hips. Right. And then let's come back to the center, back to mountain pose just for another moment before we get down onto the ground. So feel your heels go down, your thighs will pull up. That root from your sit bones going into the earth, a little lift in the heart, but keeping the chin either neutral or slightly down. So throw the head back again. That keeps the back of the neck long. Let go from your ears to your shoulders to your hands. So this line here along the neck to the shoulders, let that go and let your hands drop toward the earth. Take a few breaths here, tune into your body. Notice how you feel now after doing 45 minutes or so of movement, slowing things down, breathing, and paying attention. What are you aware of now? So when you're ready, we'll make our way down onto the mat. You can lie down on your back. We'll do a little bit of movement and then head into our Shavasana. So from here, knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Bring the hands onto the belly. Take a breath in. Feel your hands maybe rise with your breath, and as you exhale, press into your feet so you feel your lower back settle into the ground. Inhale, relax, let your belly lift. You can even create a little arch as you inhale, like the cat-cow movement, and exhale, press down into your spine, down into your feet. This little rocking movement, it can be very subtle, or you can exaggerate it a little more if you like. And then taking your arms away from your body out to the side. Although actually you could leave them on your body too, if that feels better for you. Normally we do this with the arms to the sides because they'll also stretch into the shoulders and chest a bit. And if you want a little bit more stretch in the shoulders and the chest, the arms will come a little higher, or maybe into that cactus position with bent arms that we were looking at earlier. So find a position where your arms feel comfortable. And if you want more stretch as we go, you can always lift them higher. I'm going to let the knees go down to one side. You can turn the head in the opposite direction. You'll exhale as you go to the side. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale and go to the other side. Inhale, center. Exhale to the side. Go at your own pace. For most of us, getting the little stretch across the chest is really important. If you're like me, like most people, slumping forward, sitting in the car, at the computer, or on your mobile device. And if you like, you can stay to one side. And here's where you kind of play around with the position of the opposite arm a little more. So as you're staying, raising or lowering that arm in order to be getting just the right amount of stretch from that shoulder and chest. Now, if you want more twist, you can take your top leg and bring it further across your body, maybe even stretching it out to the side. Staying is optional. If it feels better to keep moving, that's a little often easier on the body. So we're not staying and holding and potentially creating tension in that holding. You can go to the other side, same thing, playing around with the position of your arm and leg to find just the right position for you. And it might be different from how it might look tomorrow or how it might have looked another day. Maybe different from anyone else's version of twist. I can't actually see you right now, but I know from when I'm teaching that when people are holding the twist, there's so many different variations that feel good for people. So experimenting for yourself. When you come back to the center, you might want to lift the hips up and bring them back down again to find length and alignment in your spine. And then you'll bring your knees in, hands to knees, and you'll draw the knees towards you and then move the knees away. So as you come towards you, you're exhaling. And as you move away, you're inhaling. You can hug the knees in, maybe rock side to side, or perhaps bring the hands to the knees and circle. Find the movement that feels good for you. And you can take another minute or two with any movement that you like. And then from there, we are going to move into our last posture of the class, which is Shavasana. I guess last before we come back to sit at the end. No, Shavasana you can do lying down, either with your knees bent. Hands can be on the body or on the ground. You could have legs straight, maybe have a folded or rolled blanket under your knees to give your lower back a bit more support. If your knees are bent, I find taking the feet wide, letting the knees fall together is comfortable, so I don't have to work on holding my knees up. And the other option for some people, it's preferable to sit for Shavasana. So if you want to sit, that's totally fine too. So winding down any movement you might be doing and finding your way to stillness as you're ready. I'm going to come back to sit. So as you find your way to stillness, tuning into your breath. In general, for anxiety, if you tend towards that sort of busyness and that feeling of a little bit of anxiety, focusing on your exhale can be helpful. And the beauty of focusing on the exhale is it's helpful for so many different things. And except in extreme cases of depression, it's generally helpful for everyone to let go of tension. So as you exhale, feel yourself soften and drop down into the earth. As you exhale, let your shoulders relax and feel your arms let go. Bring your awareness to your hands and find ease in your hands. Relax your fingers. Notice if there's a tension or a gripping or holding the hands unnaturally open. So when the hands are relaxed, fingers are slightly curled. And then again, let go, shoulders, arms, and hands. Let the weight of your head sink down. Let the muscles of your face soften. Let your jaw release. As you release the jaw, feel the muscles of your neck soften and the collarbones widen as the shoulders drop even more. Exhale, drop down through the chest and rib cage. Relax through the waist and the belly. Really soften the belly. Notice more subtle holding deeper within the muscles of the core. Can you relax even more fully through the abdominal area, the lower back? And then softening the hips, Soften in the front of the hips where the hips meet the thighs at the hip flexors. Soften in the buttocks and the back of the hips, sides. And dropping down through the thighs and feel your knees soften. Your calves release. Ankles and feet. Letting go. Continue to focus on your exhalation, the sense of dropping into the earth and letting go of tension with each breath out. I would like to share with you one of my very favorite chants this morning. And it's the chant that reminds us that we're whole and complete, that we are perfectly imperfect just as we are. And when we feel fragmented from ourselves or from each other, this is a reminder in this chant that we're all connected, that we're all whole, and that we're all okay just as we are. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. If you would like to stay longer in Shavasana, you certainly can. And if you're ready to move on with your day, I invite you to start deepening your breath a little, taking a little more in with your inhale, fully exhaling, letting the body fully expand, but not straining with your breath. Exhaling completely. You might open your eyes and look around and tune into your sense of seeing. Tune into the sounds around you, tuning into your sense of hearing. And then eventually bringing some movement, your sense of touch as you reach out into the world around you, stretch and move in whatever way would feel good. And then if you're lying down, rolling onto your side, slowly coming back to sit. And as you go through your day, remember this lesson of grounding and being in the moment to help alleviate those swirling thoughts that help to create a feeling of anxiety in our bodies. You are enough. There is enough time, enough resources, enough connection. There is enough. You are enough. Taking that in with a big breath. Namaste.